So we have two very exciting articles here, which demonstrate the difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. The first article is titled Biden Officials to Attend Bitcoin Roundtable in D.C. Leaked Report. U.S. Congressman Ro Khanna, representing California's 17th Congressional District, is set to host a Bitcoin and blockchain roundtable in Washington, D.C. in early July, according to a private email sent by Khanna's office, seen by Bitcoin Magazine. Bitcoin Magazine's Nick Hoffman reports that Khanna's office described the upcoming meeting as the most significant meeting between policymakers and innovation leaders in blockchain to date. The roundtable is expected to feature officials from the Biden administration, the House and Senate, alongside American businessman Mark Cuban, according to the email. The primary objective of this meeting is to strategize on how to keep Bitcoin and blockchain innovation in the United States. This initiative is seen as a response to former President Donald Trump's recent endorsement of the Bitcoin industry. Trump has recently become the first president to accept Bitcoin Lightning payments for campaign donations. Last night, Trump pledged to end Joe Biden's war on crypto and ensure that the future of Bitcoin and crypto will be made in America. Earlier this week, Trump also hosted a roundtable in Mar-a-Lago with some of the nation's largest Bitcoin miners and committed to supporting Bitcoin mining both in Washington, D.C. and on the global stage. For the past 4 years, the Biden administration has taken a hostile stance towards the Bitcoin and crypto industry. Recently, on May 31st, President Biden vetoed legislation that would have allowed highly regulated financial institutions to custody Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. The Department of Justice, DOJ, has also arrested the founders and CEO of the Samurai Wallet, a popular Bitcoin mixing service, on charges of money laundering in April of this year. In May of 2023, Biden compared crypto traders to wealthy tax evaders, and in March, his administration published an economic report highly critical of Bitcoin and proof-of-work mining while promoting a central bank digital currency, CBDC. The Biden administration has also proposed a 30% tax on electricity used for Bitcoin mining, arguing that it hinders the transition to a low-emission energy future. This upcoming roundtable signals a shift in Washington's approach to the crypto industry and could represent a warming of sentiment among Democrats, given Khanna's party affiliation. Earlier this week, it was reported that the Biden administration is in talks to accept crypto donations through Coinbase Commerce, following Trump, who also started accepting donations through Coinbase as well. End of article. Now, switching over to the second article to offer some compare and contrast. Here from Brian Morgenstern of Bitcoin Magazine. Why Trump is the best choice for Bitcoin. 1 in 4 Americans own Bitcoin. That's more Americans than are over the age of 65. But how often do you hear candidates talk about senior concerns compared to concerns of crypto owners? President Donald Trump has been making a concerted effort in the 2024 campaign trail to appeal to Bitcoiners. At the recent Libertarian National Convention, President Trump vowed to stop Joe Biden's crusade to crush crypto, and assured Bitcoin holders specifically that he supported the right to self-custody. I say this with your vote. I will keep Elizabeth Warren and her goons away from your Bitcoin. I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency, President Trump said. It's clear which candidate this November is the best choice for Bitcoin owners in the entire industry, President Trump. He appears to see the wisdom of the pro-Bitcoin stances taken by popular leaders around the world, such as Presidents Javier Milei of Argentina and Nayib Bukele of El Salvador. Accordingly, he is staking out a clear position. Trump acknowledges our right to self-sovereignty, and perhaps no one better understands the value of decentralization, as people have been losing trust in institutions like the government and banks. Trump has been the target of unprecedented lawfare, politicizing the justice system, and Trump-affiliated organizations have been debanked and deplatformed. President Biden, meanwhile, just vetoed legislation that would have ensured a customer's right to have their preferred regulated financial institution custody their Bitcoin or other digital assets, laughably in the name of consumer protection. The Biden administration has been extraordinarily hostile to Bitcoin as well as the broader cryptocurrency ecosystem. The administration launched Operation Choke Point 2.0, whereby regulators effectively instituted new rules via press release, instructing banks to stop doing business with companies in the digital asset space. Further, the White House proposed a 30% tax on the energy used to mine Bitcoin, which would make it unprofitable and completely uneconomical for the industry to do business inside the United States. Their energy department also attempted to collect information regarding Bitcoin miners' energy contracts as a step towards regulating them out of business. The Justice Department even broke with long-standing Treasury Department guidance when it attempted to regulate via court filing to say that self-hosted wallets should be treated as money-transmitting businesses. This is all by design. They want to effectively ban the industry. It all starts to make sense when you consider that the Biden administration has also laid the groundwork for a central bank digital currency. Certain politicians support the creation of a CBDC because they desire complete control. They want to be able to track our transactions and tell us how we can and cannot spend our money. Bitcoin represents the polar opposite, freedom from government-driven collectivism and the empowerment of the individual. To be clear, there are many pro-Bitcoin leaders in the Democratic Party, such as Senator Kirsten Gillibrand and Reps. Richie Torres and Wiley Nickel, just to name a few. Over 70 Democrats in the House of Representatives recently voted for favorable market structure legislation, but there needs to be many more. President Biden has surrendered governance of his administration on these issues to the self-appointed anti-crypto Senator Elizabeth Warren and her acolytes. This has resulted in policies that mirror the Chinese Communist Party's approach to Bitcoin, and anything of which the ruling party disapproves. Cut off financial services, attempt to cut off access to energy in the name of environmentalism, impose impossible market regulations, and essentially do anything they can to handicap the Bitcoin network while they work towards the ultimate tool of control over their populace, a CBDC. Senator Warren herself has even proposed legislation that would effectively ban Bitcoin mining in the United States by treating miners the same as financial institutions, by requiring anti-money laundering standards despite the fact that miners do not custody any customer assets. As she well knows, if there are no Bitcoin miners, there are no Bitcoin transactions, and the path to a CBDC would be much easier without any private alternatives. The good news for Bitcoiners this November is that they have a clear alternative. This is critical because a whopping one-third of voters say they are weighing candidates' views on digital assets for their choice in the election. The choice is clear. President Trump will protect your right to own Bitcoin, to mine Bitcoin, to transact with Bitcoin, and for many of us to work in the Bitcoin industry. We believe he will support Bitcoin miners' ability to help revolutionize the finance and energy industries in the United States and maintain American economic leadership for the future. And he will ban a CBDC, protect self-custody, and stop out-of-control regulators from trying to put us out of business. If you are a Bitcoiner, President Trump is the best candidate this year to dare, I say, make Bitcoin great again in the eyes of the U.S. government. End of article number 2. So, in summary, the first article is talking about how, at least on the House level, Congressman Ro Khanna, representing California's 17th District, is going to host a event in the early few days of July, it seems, in D.C., and then both articles cover the same few points, that there was a 30% tax proposed. The CBDC, central bank digital currency, has been proposed. In May of 2023, Biden compared crypto traders to wealthy tax evaders. And then there was also the argument that there was basically legislation via a press release, which is something that is really dipping into what exactly is legislation. And then finally, it says here, yeah, they vetoed legislation that would have ensures a customer's right to have their preferred regulated financial institution custody their Bitcoin or other digital assets, laughably in the name of consumer protection. The second article is more of an opinion article, and it's written on the website Bitcoin Magazine by Brian Morgenstern. So it does have a bias, but nonetheless, the point is made clear that both articles are trying to make clear one administration is holding their ground, and the other former administration and potentially again future administration is really offering a much more friendly alternative for not just Bitcoin but the whole crypto industry as a whole, but specifically revolving around Bitcoin being the sort of gold standard, if you will. So this is really just some food for thought. It's a very apples to apples comparison of some recent press releases, some recent bits of legislation that either passed or didn't pass, and then a little bit of opinion tossed in there. So hopefully And it's also good to know that it says here at the beginning of the article that 1 in 4 Americans own Bitcoin, which is really quite an impressive number. And it shows that I would have assumed it's still less, but it seems that there is a gradual growing adoption of Bitcoin among um, not just Americans, but the global audience. So governments are, we know, are always playing catch up, they say, and this is no different. So if the current administration is going to either be antagonistic or at the very least, putting it in the nicest of terms, being neutral, it doesn't seem that way with all of the proactive actions, then it seems that perhaps there were lessons learned during Trump's first term, and then now sitting on the sidelines these few years and getting good consultation from some of the Bitcoin and crypto industry leaders. This will be a piece of his ticket, piece of his platform that might garner enough potential votes to win out in certain key states or wherever it may be. Um, of course, that's to be determined with the election, and let's see if this proves to be something that's really fundamental to uh, both campaigns. Um, so, two interesting articles, very clear where the both parties stand as of right now, and if Trump is able to continue to advance his view, then he will force his party to toe the line, which is interesting because the Democratic Party is much more, with the last 3.5, almost 4 years, demonstrating not nearly as proactive, with the exception, we could say, of the Bitcoin ETFs and now the Ethereum ETFs on Wall Street. Those are two things that have happened in the last few years that simply just took time, we could say. So looking forward to um, the public's reaction to as we head in the home stretch of these two candidates and their stance, and if it results in changing or flipping votes come election time.